Hi, I'm Sarah Burns, and I want to thank you for taking some time and coming over to my YouTube channel and listening to my thoughts and ideas on energy healing. And I'm hoping with each video, I'm giving you some new insights and new ways of looking at energy healing because what has been presented is very limited and very obscured. And I'm trying to bring this to a place where it's understandable and not so mysterious for people to think it's hokey, more or less. So today I want to talk about energy blocks. And when I am talking about energy blocks, I do want to be really clear on what I'm talking about today is more about the energy blocks on a very mundane level, meaning a very Western perspective level. But in energy healing, we have other energy bodies that expand outside of our own physical body that can cause obstructions and influence the health of our physical body as well. But we're not going to be talking about that today. I'm going to just keep it very focused on the energy blocks on a very mundane level. So, to start with, when I actually teach on the chakra system, it starts by saying that the yogis have always said that we have 72,000 nadis that run through our entire body. And those nadis are transporters of energy. Well, that's kind of still a broad term. So, the way that a more Western explanation of that is that looking at our heart system, our heart is an electrical organ. If our heart shuts down in an emergency situation, they would get these paddles, place it on your heart to conduct electricity to get it up and running again. Correct? Correct. So, so keeping that in mind, that our heart is electrical, the current that runs through our body, in order to keep things flowing, it has to have channels in order to conduct that electricity. And that is what a nadi actually is. Now, in the chakra system, they say that when 12 of these nadis converge, that creates a chakra. And so those are the main centers, electrical centers, and I like to refer to them as our fuse box, more or less, of our system as well. So when those get run down, it's going to make the rest of the nadis or the wiring system in our body not to work quite as well. These nadis are very ancient theories, and so it's easy for people to be dismissive of it since there hasn't been evidence that you can see with the naked human eye. But that all changed in 1960 when a North Korean researcher by the name of Kim Bong-hong actually discovered that these channels, these fiber optic filaments, run through our veins, blood vessels, and the lymph system. And so it was really difficult to see these. They were so minuscule that it was very difficult to see these at all. And it actually took a few more years to confirm that information, which it was by two Japanese researchers. Then, as our microscopes got better, about 40 years after they confirmed it, once again, we had these newer microscopes that were once again able to see the Bong-hong channels. Now, the Bong-hong channels by biophoton theorists also believe and confirm that these channels exist as well. And they believe that those Bonghang channels are actually our meridian system, the same system that acupuncturists work with. And so, moving into that concept a little bit, the relevance of this is that because they run through our veins and blood vessels, what they're doing is they're transporting our blood throughout our entire body. And our blood is actually the carrier of the nutrients, DNA material, and energy healers, as well as acupuncturists, believe that our spirit is also held within our blood system. So emotions, our vitality, it all comes from the blood. But the blood gets transported through our body through these Bonghang channels. And so having this understanding is relevant to how the work of an energy healer can actually help a person get better. Because what happens is when those nadis, Bonghang channels, meridians, when those start to shut down, what tends to happen is blood tends to stagnate in areas, and those stagnations can cause pressure within those areas, which can cause pain. And in turn, when there's stagnation, blood stagnation in one part of our body, most likely somewhere else in the body, there's blood deficiency because the blood is not flowing properly through our system. So this brings me to the next point I want to talk about, because I am a brain health coach, along with being an energy healer. I have a lot of titles behind my name. I got a master's in social work. I've worked with shamanism as well. And so I worked with Dr. Georgia Ede, trained with her in the Amen Clinic on nutrition for mood health or brain health. And so the new concept, that the new lingo that's coming out in psychiatry is called metabolic psychiatry, which is basically walking somewhat away from medication and putting more emphasis on our diets and how diets can work to improve our brain health. And surprisingly, the studies are supporting that a high fat, moderate protein, low carb diet is optimal for our brain health. And our brains are 99% fat, so we really need to be fortifying our brains with that. And but I want to go back to a very layman's explanation of this diet, because I run across this all the time in my practice, where we have been so programmed in this country to believe that red meat is bad for us, that fat is bad for us, that you have to be a vegetarian to have good health. And it's actually quite the opposite that they're finding. And so just taking this from a very, very simplistic perspective, let's just talk about carbs for a minute. A carb is sugar. It doesn't matter if it comes from broccoli or that cookie or, anything along those lines. A carb is simply a carb. And the thing is, all carbs break down into simple sugars. And so talking about blood again, let's look at this. If you were to put sugar in water or honey, or looking at syrup, all of those things end up becoming very sticky. And that stickiness does not allow for the smooth flowing of blood. And I think it's really relevant to understand that, looking at it from our electrical system throughout our entire body, how important it is that keeping those carbs down in order to promote the flow, the proper flow of blood. Because that stickiness, when it gets stuck, it causes our electrical system to become really out of balance. And in turn, those things have an impact on creating pain, creating low energy, which in turn can create issues with our moods and our spirit. And so there's far more to it. And I'm not going to get into all of the lingo from the medical community about, how high carbs can affect our metabolic system. Because I think in the long run, the more simpler we can understand things, the more we're going to get on board with doing the right things for our health. So back to this again, is that the concept, a very simple concept on a very mundane level, is that when these nadis get run down or obstructed, they cannot conduct electricity properly through our bodies. And when that happens, the blood, which is the carrier of all the nutrients that needs to feed all of our organs and our muscles, as well as the rest of our nervous system, when that can't flow properly to all of those areas, it's going to create pain, disease, and poor emotional health as well. So I hope that this information opens your eyes a little bit, looks at things just a little bit more, maybe embrace energy healing a little bit better. I'm not going to get into how an energy healer does the work, but I will say this, that no, I'm not going to go there today. It does work. Unfortunately, there hasn't been very good studies done on it. It's difficult to do studies on things like this, and that will lead me into another topic on another day, talking about energy healing and acupuncture as well. So I do hope that this information that I'm giving you today, though, is informative and gives you some insight as to, on the very mundane level, how energy healing can help to reignite that electrical system and get your blood flowing properly again. So I'm Sarah Burns. I would appreciate it if you did get information that was beneficial to you, to hit the like button on this channel. It would support me in doing more videos. And if you have any questions, or if there's any topic that you would like some information on, and I'm able to provide it, I'd be happy to do a video for you. So you take care and have a wonderful day.